Rent money. This is a pants off episode per Texas Pete. Chisholm's got his off, and this is running back Jones as well. In the process of taking him off, we're going to be, pants out around the ankles, doing our best to provide you guys with the most entertaining, fun, at times intellectual, at other times just downright stupid podcasts around college football we can give you all today. We're set for a fun one. The highlight of today, stick around and listen to this. We're going to be building a Trojan horse of a college football program. What does that look like? What does that even mean? You're going to find out, but essentially we're going to mix and mash and kind of do a creative player of what you would put together to form the perfect college football program. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have fun with it at least. And stick around. The last pick is also going to be our crazy horse pick. So lots of horse talk today. It's going to be a good one. Before we get to all of that, it is the month of November, which means it's also Movember. If you can see, old Chisholm's got his mustache going. I'm working on mine, not quite to the level his is at. Texas Pete just started growing his today, too, in honor of Movember. So we got three guys here, mustachioed men, to say the least. But, it's a month about men's health awareness, both suicide prevention, testicular cancer. These are things, real things, that impact men on a daily basis and oftentimes aren't talked about. Sometimes, as Chisholm put it last week, you just want to crack open a cold beer and put that shit to the side. But during the month of November or Movember, take an opportunity while you're cracking a beer to reach out, tell a loved one that you're there for them, that they can rely on you, and just check in on the the mentals of the people around you. You can go to the Movember website, toss them a few bones, and help sponsor this program, and one that we do each year, each Movember. We're very proud of. Pete and Chisholm, anything else you'd like to add around what the purpose of Movember is?
Yeah, man. It's all about preventing deaths, whether that be through, suicide prevention, testicular cancer, prostate cancer, you name it. There's just a few issues out there that seem to be and have been statistically speaking extremely prevalent for men. And so in order to make sure that, all of us are making it to the finish line here together, it takes an army, it takes a village, and, we are that army, we are that village. So reach out, talk to your bros, grow Mo, raise some funds, do whatever you can, but make sure you're giving back, and happy Movember to all.
Yeah, leave a comment in the Spotify, maybe something supportive, or go ahead and just message your buddy within the Spotify app. A lot of people don't realize there is messaging now within the Spotify app. That can be a tasty little treat. You go in there, you're going to put on some Creed or something, maybe a little bit on the down low. Boom. Hey, thinking of you in the Spotify app, not gay if you do it in the Spotify app, fellas. All right. Break. Woo! I missed you fellas last week. The Disgusting Brothers were back, and boy, were they disgusting. Had a lot of fun listening in. Sound like you guys had a lot of fun as well. But boy, am I excited to be back on the mic with you all, talking a little college ball. I will say before we just kind of get into greetings and introductions is that 2 weeks ago, on this mic, I was bright-eyed, bushy-tail Hawk fan. I'm broken into a million pieces, like a bowl of china falling off a tall counter or a tall ledge. Not sure if this Hawkeye soul can ever be put together again, at least not during the year that is 2025. But with that said, how are we boys doing?
I'm doing pretty solid, man. First of all, it's glad to have you back. This is truly a three-man weave podcast. Need all three of us to be at full strength. That being said, Chisholm and I held it down with a special guest appearance in Al Jolson. A lot of ND talk last weekend, so we flushed it out of our systems. I'm sure we'll talk about their game from last weekend against Pitt here soon, but I share that sentiment on Iowa. What could have been such a what could have been season, and I know we've been active in the group chat talking about it as well. But man, it's disappointing. You see some glimpses in there. Couldn't get over the hump. This is always next year.
Yeah, I'll just probably never be as happy as I could or should be for at least till September.
Yep. But we're not all doom and gloom, man. We had a bunch of killer games last weekend too.
Can't be all doom and gloom. We can't be. Let's run through them. we'll do a little bit of the rigmarole, as we say it in the Rip Money universe. Starting off with a game that was a bit of a rigmarole. Texas A&M 31, South Carolina 30. I was already counting the chickens before they hatched here with SC up by so much. But Texas Pete, he sent a nice little message. Talked about this during the production meeting as well. Has a coach ever given an interview like Mr. Beamer gave right now that just screams, "We're going to fumble this game away"? The guy sounds like a complete tweak. Wow, Texas Pete could read the room. We got a real life, body language doctor over here out of Pete. What was it about Beamer's interview that kind of gave you those EBGBs that thought, hey, you know what? Maybe something special could be on the table here down in College Station?
You're one, great poll. And then two, it was his interview. He said something weird. It was one of those sideline interviews right before they ran into the locker room. You get two sentences out of the coach, so it's really nothing. But also, when they were glancing over to him and the cameras would pan to him on the sidelines, he was always doing like weird shit, like fidgety, like you're totally losing control of the situation, hand gestures. So that was another monster reason to send that in there. And obviously, proved to be true. SC was up 30-3 at halftime, 27 halftime lead, got goose egged in the second half. It was unlike anything you ever seen in your life, but you saw it coming.
Yeah, I did not. I was on A&M to cover 18.5 coming into this one, and so mentally clocked out of this game pretty early. 9-7 on the week for me last week, so we're on the right side of history. But Mike Elko has a team that just knows how to win. However, the way that they win games doesn't feel great going into the end of the year with an SEC championship and then playoff football on the horizon. If they can continue to pull out miracle games, great, good for them. But if they're going to allow opponents to come into one of the hardest, if not the hardest environments to play in college football as a conference opponent, and they're going to let them hang 30 in the first half, like I get, great second half, you come out, you take care of business, everything went your way. But I don't know. Something's off about this Texas A&M team. Like, yeah. I don't really get what it is. I've seen a lot of discourse online just talking about how much worse off college football is as a product when A&M is like a good team. And I personally don't really care one way or another. If I had to choose, I would say, yeah, that is probably correct. But the amount of Aggie fans, like I had people that just saw on Instagram that I had liked a post, and I had Aggie fans pinging me saying, unlike this, take this shit down, blah, blah, blah. We have a platform here apparently that people care about more than I had thought. But yeah, they're just one of those teams where you're like, does it have to be them?
Wait, what was this post? Was this
on
the
what did you like?
Instagram?
What did you like?
It was just like one of those reels where it's like Texas A&M might be the
You posted it?
No, I just liked it.
Did you repost
I did not
the reel?
repost it. No, I just liked it. So we just saw
those real likes are public these days. So maybe people are upset. They're like, I don't need this shit in my feed, Chisholm. Like a lot of the stuff that you bring into my feed's good, random humor, and now I just have somebody shitting on A&M. I'm getting all worked up, and I see that you liked it.
Well, you don't have to. You actually get to decide how you want to react to any given situation. Is the beauty of free will.
What were these?
The beauty of humanity.
What was the Aggie faithful telling you in regards to this post that you liked?
Unlike it or else?
I'll go to the
gun to your head.
Were they threatening you? Were they threatening you, Chisholm?
I've been threatened before, but not in this instance. I'll pull up the exact message.
I'm gonna tickle you.
He just sent the post to me and said, unlike this. And then I was like, it's funny. You guys are very upset about this. And then replied to that. He said, knock it off. Huh?
Was it a yell leader?
No, it's a normal.
Okay.
He's a cool dude. He's from Houston area, but he goes, knock it off, man. Seriously, with 3 tear sad face emojis. So they mean business. PR is very important for them.
Yeah, being number 3 in the country and getting a little upset or worked up about a liked reel. You got to have thicker skin than that. Come on, Aggies. Yeah, this
You would
game,
think.
though, on the field, I mean, South Carolina could have been up by even more points going into halftime. I think A&M had 3 or 4 turnovers. Obviously, they tightened up in the second half and got the job done. They averaged over 7 yards per play throughout the game, but the turnovers is what killed them. I can't believe South Carolina couldn't pull this out. But to Chisholm's point, they got Samford this week, so maybe it's a tune-up game, and then they have Texas. You never want to drop a game, but we know how hard it is to go undefeated in college football, especially with the expanded playoff. Look at Ohio State last year losing to their rival, Michigan, and then, getting kind of in form after that. I'm not saying that's in A&M's best interest to drop the game against Texas, but it kind of felt like maybe a comeback where they came up short against SC might have been in their best interest, where it's like, okay, we lost that game, but now we got to tune it up against Samford, and then we get a whoop up maybe on Texas, and we can go into the college football playoff with kind of that undefeatedness, monkey off your back, and it's a little bit easier to point at things if you're Elko-led team. If you get that loss, maybe it gets through a little bit more. They're definitely playing with fire.
I guess, like, to your point right there, if you had to choose between these two options, Chisholm, one of them, and you're in both scenarios, you're going to be a one-loss team. In one scenario, you play a lesser opponent, someone in the mid to bottom third of the conference or something like that, and it's just a fluke game. Your quarterback has 4 interceptions, bounces aren't going your way, and you lose by a couple of scores, right, to a lesser opponent. Or if your other one-loss option would be playing against a top-tier team, fighting close, you guys are both bringing your A game, but ultimately you fall short.
I mean, the second, for sure. I think the committee values that significantly more than the prior. Whether you agree or disagree, the committee themselves have very much shown that good losses mean slightly less than good wins. Bad losses mean more from a negative standpoint than anything else that I've seen, evidenced by Miami. This is a team that was in the driver's seat. They had the ranked wins. They had everything they needed on their resume. And because they just choked away 1-2 games, while the majority of college football has done the same, the quality of opponent that they choked those games away to is what has sobered their resume up to the point of where it is. There's a lot of teams in college football that could go out and beat any other team on any given Saturday. There's not a lot of teams that are never going to lose in those types of games. It's just the nature of the beast that is college football. And I think it's also one of those things that's going to make it a lot harder for teams outside of the Big Ten and the SEC to just have better resumes, because the teams that they're playing are about even. They're never, unless it's an out of conference game, they're never going to have a higher level or a higher tiered opponent in the eyes of the committee, as you see by the Big 12 and by the ACC every single season since the playoff is kind of emerged. Before I ramble any further there, I guess, what would your initial response be to that? Because I can see some disdain on both of your faces there.
Oh, whoa, disdain. Maybe disgust, as you are a disgusting brother. But I would say it depends. I mean, the way the question was phrased, I think this Texas A&M team, you're looking at one loss either way. And I think if it's just one loss, I'd rather just have the fluky one. Granted, you're looking at it from a perspective where you take a second loss, and then it starts to become more of that question of, well, what are the quality of the losses?
No, I wouldn't say so.
If you're a one-loss SEC team, I don't think it really matters, and I'd probably just rather have that fluky one versus saying, I mean, all things even, it's kind of saying we beat the good team. If we only have one loss and one of them was a fluke and one was to a good team, I'd rather have the one loss just be the fluke game and then win the game against the good team.
Are you saying that more so from like a coach or in the locker room standpoint? Because I would agree.
Know that we could just go out there and beat that good team, and then we had a 4 interception game. We didn't have our eyes on the ball against South Carolina this week at home in a sleepy matchup, and we struck out.
Chisholm, it was open to interpretation for sure. Like I was
they
thinking
are
about it more so as like leading a team or a program,
right?
But yeah, I would be like, what? You just chalk it up to the game. Be like, damn, that was fucking crazy. You guys remember that? Anyways, on to this week.
I think if you're leading a team and it's an internal conversation, it's a lot easier to be like, that's just on us. We didn't play well, versus to lose a game where you did everything you had to do and be like, they're just better than us. That's tougher internally, but externally, in the eyes of the committee, you're more competitive. And I think the fluke games, especially from a TV rating standpoint, like the first round wasn't exactly competitive last year in some of the games. Notre Dame, Indiana was closer on paper in terms of the final score than the game ever actually was. Kind of the same thing with Tennessee. Even like with Clemson, honestly, like they started to pull away at one point as well. And I feel like that's something the committee is going to be hyper focused on. And that's why a lot of people are going to struggle to come to grips with the fact that a Miami team that beat Notre Dame also has a worse resume than that same Notre Dame team. Even though they have the better wins, they have such bad losses that it's just, it kind of looks like Bradley Cooper's face post surgery. You know, it's like, I know what you once were. You were at the top of the mountain and you're trying to stay there, but we can all see your desperation. And the fact that you've allowed yourself to stoop this low means that I have to dock you points. I have to demerit you somehow.
Great analogy, Chisholm. I love
Thanks,
that.
man.
Speaking of a game where maybe you do go into the opponent's territory on the road, and this is one of those, hey, maybe it's a good loss. Not that there are such things as 25-point good losses. University of Georgia takes down Texas 35-10 at home in a game where Texas fans might try and tell you it was more competitive than it was, but Georgia was pretty dominant this game. And this is that flip side of this right here. Chisholm, it's like, hey, you went out over and you face a good opponent, and you could, if it's a good loss, like it doesn't look bad on the resume if you don't have the score up next to it. It's like, what were their losses? Now that's their third loss, right? But holy cow, Kirby Smart just is probably my favorite coach in college football. We're gonna get to that maybe later, Trojan Horse portion of the show. But what were you guys' takeaways from this game besides the fact that Georgia can still turn it up when they need to, and the fact that Texas and Arch just can't really seem to score against really good defenses?
Yeah, it was kind of a whooping. I mean, it was what, close. It was like a one-score game in the third quarter or so in the second half, and then Georgia just kind of opened it up, I felt like. And yeah, I mean, Gunnar Stockton sneaking his way up to in the top handful of Heisman rankings too, by the way, after a 4-touchdown performance. But Georgia was the play this entire. If you listen to last week's pod, we were all over it. No brainer. Didn't care. Laying the 6.5, easily covered, obviously. But yeah, man, Sark's been kind of off his game this season, to say the least. But yeah,
a little testy in these interviews too.
A little bit here, a little bit.
Chisholm, any kind of thoughts? I mean, Texas still is outside chance of making the college football playoff. It helps that they're in the SEC with the 3 losses. Then, of course, you get Texas A&M to close the year, which could be that bumping win. But I haven't really seen anything from Texas at this point. I mean, we're going to have to look at the tape once that game gets here. That gives me confidence in them against A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a step back and ask you guys, what was the last time that a team came into a season projected number 1, all of the guts, all of the glory, potential Heisman candidate at quarterback, and just underproduced? Like every game just came out and you're like, huh.
I could tell you a team that was maybe ranked number 2 in the country that reminds me of that, Penn State Nittany Lions. But number 1, I'd have to maybe go back through kind of a quick list.
Like a preseason ranking. I feel like this is, if it wasn't for Texas, though, I mean, Clemson would be getting shelled.
Yeah,
Florida,
Dabo is last year, 2 years ago. Dabo is like, at this point, what is there that to be said that we haven't already said about some of those performances?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think less about Texas football rather than more lately.
Yeah,
I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them in the playoff.
I don't either.
They don't deserve to be there.
They won't.
And they won't. is the other thing. But I'm very, very curious, and I think the standard that gets set this offseason is going to be the most fun to watch, with Arch obviously not having the best year, Texas seemingly having invested in him. Are they going to continue to stand on that hill, or is somebody getting brought in from the outside for a competition? Is there somebody in the room already? I know you have Dia Bell, Raja Bell's son, as a highly touted quarterback recruit that'll be incoming as well. But I mean, the chances of a true freshman playing at the University of Texas in the near future are slim to none. I think this will be a NFL like off season for many of the top programs in the country, as it has been for the last few years with the portal. But
yeah,
cutthroat for sure. Dog eat dog.
Got to be in the best interest of Arch to leave and look at like a 2-year stay somewhere else, in my opinion. He's got a lot of growing to do still. There's a lot of pressure on you down at Texas, and unless you take some big leaps this offseason, it could just turn into a kind of a gross situation down there. Okay, let's keep this rolling though. We got UVA beating Duke. We got that one on the list here to talk about, and Indy at Pitt, Notre Dame 37-15. Maybe we combine these two, just throw it out to the team here. A little ACC talk, which there was a lot of last week, and I kind of was disappointed that I wasn't able to join in on. Atlantic Coast Conference, we're supporters here. Between those two games, I guess, just maybe one takeaway from the two of you, or maybe we'll leave ND up for Chisholm, and anything else you guys want to say about UVA versus Duke. It is on the list to be discussed. It would have been on my list, but maybe I'm not maybe I'm not as ACC as I thought I was.
That's exactly. Well, the reason we threw this on there in the production meeting is because Chisholm was harping last week about how much ACC football we had to watch. So I actually had this up on the quad box on Saturday. It was a fun one. ACC 4.5-point dogs. Threw on them spread, threw on a money line. So we were definitely invested. And when your dog jumps out to an early lead, it has your attention and it deserves a square on the quad box. So I was not disappointed with this one. Chisholm led us in the right direction to watch some ACC ball last Saturday. But it was a blowout. It wasn't particularly close, which was great for my bet, but not, I guess, for viewing purposes. And finally, we can squash the rumors of Duke potentially finagling their way into the CFP by being the highest ranked conference champion out of the ACC, but being below the G6 champion. So just chalking them off and getting Duke football out of my fucking face is primarily the reason it's on this week's episode.
It's basketball season. Yeah, get Duke football away from me. I love and respect Manny Diaz. That I think the vision in the future is bright for them. Not this year, not this season. It's better than Chapel Hill. Don't get me wrong, but the Notre Dame Pitt game was weird. It was a game that Pat Narduzzi, the head coach for Pitt, had come out earlier in the week saying how it's not a must-win game, and for for all reasons, I agree with him. It's not a conference opponent. They aren't even like, it kind of is, but also it's not. They're not on the same playing field, and I thought it was just weirder to me to hear like that's the extent that the comments kind of went. There was never really an invigoration of life, if you will, in his confidence for his team or anything of that nature. And calling a timeout with like 4 or 5 seconds left in the game just so they could sneak in the garbage time touchdown. Freeman did not like it. Oh yeah. If you missed out on this, there was some drama.
I didn't watch it. It was a blowout.
The handshake at the end of the game. Narduzzi ran out, went to give him a handshake. Freeman gave him the quick dap and then kind of brushed him away and was like, "We're done here." This has been a less than pleasurable experience. It was cool to play in Heinz Field. I don't know what the fuck Acrisure is, but it's Heinz Field over there in Pittsburgh. Three Rivers making it happen. Got to get a double dosage of Heinz this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Always a good time, but a lot of confusion for what is Pitt.
I liked it out of Narduzzi. Sandbag in this game was always the move. They have Georgia Tech and Miami to finish the year. If you get the team all riled up about this Notre Dame game, which obviously he didn't have a lot of confidence in winning that matchup, to be saying some of those things, maybe he's trying to slow play it. But knowing that you got Georgia Tech in Miami with a chance still to make the college football playoff, if you can win out on the line, I like it. You looking at this video, Pete? Is it as egregious as Chisholm's making it out to sound?
I haven't pulled up the video yet, but I was just looking into like when did exactly they punch in that final touchdown to keep the score, a little bit closer, even though it wasn't fucking close. It was 4th and 6 from Notre Dame's 21-yard line, and they went for it with 5 seconds left, and they scored a touchdown off of that. So like that's the play, which is pretty. I could like almost understand it if you're literally at like the 1-inch line. Okay, you did all that work, get there, but like they drop back to have to score that. It is so petty. I'm 100% going to go back and watch that little scuffle.
Yeah. It was just weird. Like, if it was early in the season, I get it. Get the reps in, like get your plays in, whatever. We're coming up on week 13. So like I don't know what extra reps you would be needing to get in this year. Make that make sense for sure. But I want to give a shout. Pitt's uniforms and color scheme are very aesthetically pleasing, I should say. Like that shade of blue with that shade of yellow it's well done.
I like that West Virginia has this shade yellow and blue too, but they're different. I always kind of like that, especially when it's
shit
rivals.
Yellow and blue. Walking to the Home Depot and be like, hey, do you guys have a shit yellow and blue selection I could take a look at? I'm feeling more Pittsburgh than West Virginia, but I'm open to options.
Right. And don't mind my limp. I just got a bunion, just those kind of things.
Yeah. It's like, hey, man, I got to go see a doctor, not Akron zips or their shades of shit yellow and blue. Who, speaking of, Akron's season ends tonight. Here, out. November 19th, we have a college football team season ending. That's really sad.
Yeah.
Feel for the players. Is it too late? Can they find a way to get eligibility on a team to finish out the season? That's probably only 5 years down the road from that happening. Okay, OU won on the road at Bama. We just got to make note of that. I mean, huge win for OU and the Boomer Sooner faithful. We're 30 minutes into this show. We got a lot more to discuss. So we're just going to give them a pat on the back and say, good job by you, Boomer Sooners. This week's slate, pretty mid. We got a bunch of picks for you, though. We're going to hop in and let Texas Pete give us the Heisman standings weekly rundown. Not a lot of movement there, but go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, we had a little bit of movement. Mendoza, Doses and Mendoza. That's Fernando Mendoza for those back at home that might have not tuned into last week's episode. Minus money per DraftKings right now. I didn't exactly, combine all of the books, but heavy favorite there. It's 2-pony race, kind of. Then you have Julian Nam-San at plus 170 in the 2 spot. Nam-San. And then for some reason, Marcel Reed is still hanging around after his 4 interception performance last weekend. Granted, they won,
4
but
turnovers, same thing. Though.
4 turnovers. Plus 550 in the 3rd spot. Pavia, Jeremiah Love, and Gunnar Stockton round out at 20-1 plus.
Big fan of this is random, but just on the subject. We should be doing not interceptions and fumbles, but quarterback turnovers as a stat. I hate that fumbles just get buried in the stat line and just don't get looked at when it's just as impactful and just as serious.
Yeah, I like it. That's 100%.
I remember Tua was the king of fumbling in the NFL, and his fans were like, "Well, he only had 2 interceptions this year." Well, buddy, he has 6 turnovers, which is 4 more than any other quarterback. But I digress.
Do you?
Here,
I do.
100%. Okay, going down to the latest CFP rankings poll. Comes out every Tuesday night. You're hearing this. Did we have a couple movements in it? Top 5 are going to be the same. Ohio State, IU, A&M, UGA, and Texas Tech. Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama round out the top 10. And then we have Tulane and Miami rounding out the 12, with our first two out being BYU and Utah at the 11 and 12 spots. We have the projected ACC champion catching one of those spots, and then Tulane as well, which is ranked 24th in the standings as the highest ranked G6 team. So assuming they went out, they control their destiny to the college football playoffs this year. A lot of controversy going around that. I feel like, what was it? JMU has a big claim to it. I think I've been seeing across there. And then Navy with a big win last weekend too, by the way, keeping their hat in the ring, in case shit hits the fan, but I think they got 2 losses. So,
I'll
any
say
takeaways from
Tulane.
this week's Sea of People? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say Tulane. John Sumrall had a quote. First of all, he was in talks, head coach out of Tulane, for the Florida coaching position about 3 or 4 hours ago. Reports just came out. He's already turned that down, saying no to Florida in lieu of either that job, maybe as another one in his mind, more so looking at, maybe like a Penn State. I don't really know what other opportunities there. Obviously, we should probably mention James Franklin taking over the helm at Virginia Tech. Just who gives a shit, I guess you could say. It would be cool to see Virginia Tech brought back to where they once were, but I just don't know if that's feasible, especially with Virginia having a lot of steam. That state's just not big enough for 2 teams. Not in this climate.
Virginia's got a lot more money, not as much tradition, but that makes things a little bit more difficult for a tech.
The needle's moving. But outside of that, I'm really pulling for like a first round upset by whoever that G6 team will be. Shout out to the Far East Movement. I love pulling for the little guy, the coaches, the players, you name it. They're easier to cheer for, especially down in Nolens. Good folks, good
Mrs.
food,
Jones
good
is down in
baguettes,
NOLA right now.
bagnettes. Yeah, Go's touring it up. Shout out to Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones and me.
Mrs. Jones.
Shout out to Billy Paul. Yeah, I'm up for whatever I was gonna say.
Do we want?
What are we doing?
Trojan horse.
Oh, are we ripping that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do.
All right, man.
Everybody knows the categories, and the listeners at home know the categories. The listeners at home most definitely do not. So let's lay it out for you. We're gonna, build a creative player, but it's a creative program. We're gonna do 6 different picks, so we got a lot to choose from here. Do you guys want to go in order and just kind of pick one at a time? I think that maybe keeps things a little bit more simple. And the picks are going to be between coach, program history, traditions, right? Is that one of them right there? Or is that part of program history? Recruiting pipeline.
Stadium.
Yes, stadium. Recruiting pipeline, stadium, colors and mascot.
Uniforms.
And then we also have Crazy Horse, which is basically Chisholm, explain Crazy Horse.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the monument known as Mount Rushmore, you go and apparently, I haven't been personally, but apparently you take a look at this rock and then you start leaving or you start walking to a different rock, and that's the Crazy Horse Monument. This is for one man. It's a bit of a hot take, I guess you could say, because it's better than the Mount Rushmore, and you might place that at a higher regard. But the popular vote will, probably be that Mount Rushmore. Which one of those 4, right? Are you the most prevalent to, or favorited the most? But sneaky, the wild card, the Crazy Horse. That's the one that you're kind of, it's your hot take, if you will. It's the thing that you're like, this may not be the most popular opinion, but this is what I personally believe to be true. And so that one's just going to be kind of a from the parking lot, out of left field, Crazy Horse selection, if you will. But yeah, just to recap that, because it was kind of all over the board. We're talking stadiums, uniforms, and or mascots, kind of all of the pageantry mixed in there, recruiting pipelines, head coaches, tradition in general, and then the Crazy Horse, like we said.
Yeah.
So those
tradition,
are the 6.
Prestige, Yeah, great job, Chisholm. Crazy Horse, 641 feet long, 563 feet tall, with the face alone being 87 feet tall.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Put that one in your back pocket for Thanksgiving with the family. Coming around the corner. All right, Texas Pete, you got first pick, and we're going to start in the coaches category. A lot to choose from here. You know, there's over 300 programs in college football. That's more college basketball. There's over 100 programs in college football. But, you know, maybe you want to go FBS, you know, Northern Iowa type of school here.
If I'm talking a current head coach that I want to head up my Build-A-Bear program.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be Kirby Smart. You have a handful of top guys to choose from here, but I read a phenomenal quote from him the other day. In referencing to soft players was essentially the topic of conversation. We schedule them. The ones that want to leave, we schedule them. We try and get them on the schedule because when they want to leave, they're not physical. That means they're probably going to a place that's not a physical place. We like those places. We like to play them. We prefer it, actually, if you can get them on the schedule. It's one of those deals. You don't run from hard in life. You run from hard in life. It'll find you more hard. So that is just what I want out of a football coach.
Sounds like a sexual assault. God,
that's what this. You'll find more hard. So Kirby Smart, if you're giving out one-liners like that, you can lead my program. Obviously, he has the championship pedigree behind him as well. Just a very intense guy. And Kirby Smart is a pretty good football coach name. I don't know any other Kirbys in my life other than the one that's coaching football on Saturdays.
Chisholm, any thoughts on that? And then also your next up in order of coaches here.
I don't really have any thoughts on that. For my coach, this is kind of a cop-out, so I'll give a real answer after. But for my coach, I was going to say Coach John Beam. Rest in peace to the guy that was running over at the the Oakland Community College, featured in Last Chance U, was fatally shot and killed at the age of 72. But that man had done so much for the city of Oakland, all of the kids that are coming into that area, trying to get out, trying to get better lives and opportunities. Our thoughts and our prayers are with him, the Oakland Bay Area community, everybody out there. But especially with the players, current and former, Beam's family, et cetera. As far as, active coaches, though, I'm going to go with Signetti as my guy. Going back to his "I win, Google me" quote that ruffled a lot of feathers, and even I personally didn't really love. I was like, who's this cocky prick? Then he came out and he just backed it up. Took Indiana to the playoff last year. They're absolutely humming, and they have a Heisman favorite at quarterback right now. I don't think anyone ever thought in a million years this would be possible. And the fact that he did it with a JMU roster last year and just revamped and got better this year, I think it shows a lot of promise, and this is a guy that's worth investing in. So congrats to Indiana for finally having some form of athletic success in the 21st century.
Yeah, I mean, the only knock against that would just be age. You know what I mean? Longevity here. How long can he keep at it? But no doubt Signetti was on the list, obviously.
If we're doing honorable mentions, I didn't know that was allowed. Now that I do. I got a couple quotes from a coach that deserves one. We're like the kid that plays second French horn in the school band. We got to
play better. Yep.
They're going to be very good. They're rougher than a pine cone toilet seat. I mean, I'm talking about the one and only Bob Green, legendary coach of Montana State. Holy cow, this guy, he's got like so many. What did he say?
It's like your mother-in-law driving off the cliff in the Cadillac. You got mixed feelings.
Yeah, that's one. We're kind of like a woodpecker in a petrified forest. We just keep busy.
Keep busy and look for opportunities. He's like a black lab on the first.
Go ahead. No, go.
I was gonna say he's like a black lab on the first day of hunting season, just yanking at the chains.
I watched another honorable mention when Harry met Sally the other day, and there's a throwaway line. Billy Crystal's character Harry has. He's just like, "This is my face." It just doesn't make any sense. It just says it. Yep, this is my face, and I just love it. But he has a quote that's very similar to that in feelings, We want to play a full 60 minutes. One thing is for sure, the game will last at least 60 minutes. Just good shit, Bob Green. Thank you very much for your service to college football. I'm going to go with Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning, we all know I got the hots for Dan. Always have, always will. Talking about longevity, this guy and Ron Livingston. Holy cow. Just two guys that know how to work it. But yeah, we got a young coach. He's from the Kirby Smart tree. This guy knows how to get him fired up. He knows how to recruit, and he knows how to, butter him up as well. He's got Phil Knight's ass all buttered up to the max, like a nice piece of breakfast toast. So the money's going to keep coming in for Dan. But we're going to go with Mr. Lanning. He's an offensive-oriented football coach, or defensive-oriented football coach, where the offense seems to be consistently good, which I like. Usually you kind of end up with one or the other. So we're going to go with Dan. All right. Thanks, Faltz. Appreciate that, bud. Texas Pete. Okay, let's go to program. Tradition and
what?
Tradition? I don't know. I'm over here just freaking out. I guess when you bring up Ron Livingston, I just get flushed in the face and forget what I'm doing.
Chisholm, why don't you go ahead and kick it off on our next trait, if you would want to call it. Go ahead, take your pick, and we'll follow suit.
Happy to do it. For the next one, we're looking at the recruiting pipeline, and I think you guys know where I'm going with this one. I'm going to take Notre Dame's. Their pipeline, of course, being the entire country. Shout out to Newt Rockney. Shout out to Trains. Thomas, Percy, you name them. We love them. Got to represent, the way that Newt just could see the future. He's like, all we got to do is get on this train and good things will happen. That crazy Austrian son of a bitch, he knew a thing or two. Give me the Fighting Irish's recruiting pipelines. Let's go all in there.
Hell yeah. So recruiting pipeline, I think I would have a different answer for you a handful of years ago, but as of the current state of college football, I'm just going to follow the money. I feel like that's a safe bet. You might not get the absolute 100% buy-in you could potentially get from a more natural, I guess, population that's typically drawn to your program. But I'm going to take A&M here. If the price is oil is good, you're going to have unlimited money. And that's kind of what you need to compete here at the highest level that we're seeing, especially with how much these young gentlemen are getting paid these days. So yeah, we'll take A&M for the recruiting pipeline. Plus it helps to be in Texas as well. I don't know if Mr. Jones has some technical issues right now. So we'll go ahead and let him play catch up once he jumps off and gets back on. But going over to our next category here, let's try and save some fun ones. Let's just go to uniforms and mascots. So this is all encompassing this category. It's going to be the actual mascot on the field. It could be a potential live mascot or just the straight color scheme. I definitely feel like the number one option here is going to be, which I'm going to take, being in the great state. But that's going to be the Carolina blue of the UNC Tar Heels. It is just beautiful color. It looks good on every type of uniform. While it's not, I don't think it's necessarily like a football color. I feel like just from like the history of the team, you know what I mean? I just think it's so fucking cool. And if you're going to be leading a program like we are talking about right now, you're going to be decked head to gear in university issued apparel at all times. So I want to be rocking the Carolina blue. What about you?
Yeah, that Carolina blue is just, it's just sexy.
The best color. Just the best color out there.
I think, dude, I'm going to throw mine because of the combo of the uniforms with the mascot. I'm going to go University of Texas. I'll go with my hometown as well here. The burnt orange is incredible. The fact that they still do jersey, the fact that they do jersey reveals as if we don't know what they're going to look like on Saturday every week is hilarious to me. But the all whites with the burnt orange lettering is incredible.
Wait, do they do uniform reveals, whether it's going to be the white with burnt orange or the burnt orange with white? They just surprise you.
They'll just have like a picture of a UT jersey or a guy wearing whatever jersey that
Just
they're
so
gonna
classic.
wear with whatever graphic it was. And so yeah, keep eyes out for that for sure, because it's just hilarious. But then Bevo. I mean, come on, it's Bevo.
I noticed you brought this up ever since Mr. Jones, notable Bevo hater, has left the call. Was there any particular reason to this timing?
No. This was gonna be my number one take, my number one pick, through and through. I think Bevo's the best mascot in all of college football.
Not according to the Rent Money rankings from last year of live mascots.
Those were heavily biased and subjective. There was no polling. There was no research.
There hasn't been an updated rankings as well, so who knows? He could have climbed.
All I'm saying is when UGA makes it into an Allstate commercial, give me a call. When UGA gets to, just hang out in a field and just, bust nuts and eat grass all day, give me a call. Congrats that he needs an air-conditioned little home. Little doghouse to live in. Bevo's from the mud. Bevo's ready for war. That Texas sun doesn't mean shit to him. He would prefer to avoid it though. He likes the shade.
Yeah. Yep. I think burnt orange during the day and the white with orange lettering at night looks best when you're Texas. That those all whites under the lights it's something special. You're in for a great game.
The home uniforms too, when they're at DKR and it's like dusk and the sun's kind of setting, and so it's like the burnt orange on the burnt orange. Like it's incredible to look at.
And on top of that, you have the logo as well, which is a couple aspects I didn't mention about, but like UNC has a dope, iconic logo, the NC,
Great logo.
But obviously the Longhorn logo, hook 'em, it's iconic. It's up there for the top 5 on every single list you could possibly put out.
UNC's got like a few, the secondary logos, I think, are something that people don't talk about enough, but UNC
with the Rams,
the Rams, they have the foot logo that like they'll use. And then they all, the patterning, of like the diamond.
Yeah. The Argyle.
That they do down the Argyle down the side for like basketball, football, you name it.
But we're talking about football here. This is a football podcast, but we're talking about football.
Right. But shit, I guess, do we just keep rolling?
Yeah. So stadium here.
Stadium.
I'll kick it over to you. I'll let you take the first pick.
Dude, for me, I think my favorite,
and it could be for a variety of factors, right? It could be one, you just like how the stadium looks, you like the location, you like the capacity, you like the history, as in, potentially they've been playing at this stadium for, decades and decades and decades.
Right. Dude, I think I'm going to go with the Swamp. The Swamp to me is one of, if not the coolest atmospheres in college football, just purely from a viewing standpoint. There's a lot of stadiums that I've yet to go to and need to go to. And so from my perspective, I'm giving this answer of like, when I tune in and I see a game is at the Swamp, it's a big game. Like the signage that's all over the stadium, the capacity, running out of the tunnel, the amount of money that they've put into like the game day celebrations for the fans and the experience in the stadium. I think the Swamp for me takes it. There's significantly better ones, but I don't know. I think all things considered, I like where I'm at.
It's obviously not a bad answer. I feel like the Swamp is one of those places when you're watching on TV, it's actually loud, like through the TV, which I don't know if that's just obviously it's going to be loud in there, but also just the fact that the cameras and technology doesn't do at other stadiums makes me think it's, obviously fucking killer stadium. But the one that came to mind for me, well, it's actually two, depending which direction I wanted to go, but they're both in the same geographic area. So I think that's primarily what I'm talking about here. And that's going to be Rocky Top, Neyland Stadium, University of Tennessee. One, they have a killer song to go with it as well, but just like Rocky Top is an awesome name. But the second runner up there as well was like App State, out in Boone, North Carolina. So just like that, those type of, Eastern Tennessee, Western Carolina, that atmosphere is just gorgeous. I've been over there. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but even it plays well when you're seeing it on the stadium. Bunch of on the TV rather, bunch of camera pans out to the leaves during the fall when it's changing. You see it's elevated up, and you can kind of see off into the mountains. So I'll take Rocky Top for this sake.
Quick honorable mention. I got two. One, Arkansas State for a stadium. It's not the biggest, but they got waterfalls, and that thing goes crazy anytime they score. They just unleash the beast on this waterfall. Number two, Jack Trice Stadium. Lest we forget, here in my home state, they got that grass hill, and the Cyclone ice cream, the twist cone, dream cone, whatever
clone
it is.
Cones.
Yes, clone cones. Thank you. Typically more of a fan of those at Hilton, but I've been to Jack Trice once or twice, and nothing better than just sitting on that hill, eating a clone cone.
Nothing like it. That's why it's one of the great atmospheres in college football.
Talking to chicks, yeah, getting scared, getting nervous, getting rejected.
Playing catch behind the bleachers.
Yep, little bit of. I don't know if you can say smear the queer anymore. So I guess tackle the jackal, whatever the kids are saying nowadays.
Yep, playing 500, dead or alive. Take me back, man.
We're alive.
100%. If we're giving out, Mr. Jones isn't on the call yet, but the Rose Bowl, UCLA plays. I heard they're moving, by the way, but just being the Rose Bowl, iconic history, beautiful at sunset, massive. So we'll throw that in there as well. A couple other that we have here for you guys is going to be tradition. I kind of interpreted this a little bit different. So maybe why don't you go ahead and lead us off? Because you have tradition and crazy horse left. So go ahead, take your pick with tradition, and then we'll wrap it up with crazy horse, depending on your answer, if I need to change mine.
Yeah, I think like the wave at Kinnick is kind of the type of thing I was thinking of.
Okay, so that's what I interpreted as well.
My go-to, I think I'm going to say the Florida State Seminole coming out onto the field, planting the spear, the tribal war chant going on all around him. What is that? Chief Osceola, or whoever. I think it's Osceola, isn't it? There's a name for the horse too. I gotta do more prep in these production meetings.
Crazy horse.
Yeah, crazy horse for sure. Yeah, but Florida State, when they're humming, when they're rolling, Renegade. That's the name of the horse. It's Chief Osceola and Renegade. What a great name for a horse. What a great name for a horse. The Flaming Spear. But yeah, where does your mind go?
I was in the same boat. I was thinking actual traditions. I think we were kind of talking about earlier. You could interpret this one as more of a history, whether it be national championships, winning prominence, cultural relevancy to college football as a whole. But I'm with you, and I interpret it kind of as the tradition aspect of a singular thing. And I was kind of with you, but Running Ralphie of University of Colorado, dude, you got Running Ralphie on the field, dude. This guy's making a loop. He's at the 30, he's at the 20, he's at the 10, and then he turns around and does it again. So just having a live animal mascot who was obviously number one in our top rankings from last year. So just something like that to tie in a little bit more to the game. And it looks like we got Mr. Jones back on the line with us. Mr. Jones, you able to hear us?
Oh no, we can't hear him. But while he's getting everything he's got going figured out, a couple quick things. One, Ralphie is a girl, and two, Ralphie no longer runs. They got rid of that tradition this year.
Yep.
But I'm willing to grandfather that in. I'm willing to grandfather.
They didn't get rid of it. I think the press release that was put out was Ralphie doesn't want to run anymore.
She's tired.
So I'm honoring. She's tired. Let her rest. You know this tradition isn't dead and buried. That's all I'm saying.
I would hope not.
It's going to be coming back. Yeah.
I don't know what the kids in Boulder are up to nowadays. Not playing good football for one, but
I think that's tied to it as well. I don't think if you're a football program like Colorado's, and the product that they're putting out on the field this year. You don't deserve Ralphie, is your tradition. It's too good for this current football roster. So you got to earn it. It's like taking the ping pong tables out of the locker room. Yeah,
get that out of there. You don't get Ralphie.
He took Ralphie away?
No,
I
he
have a
didn't.
few more too, but
Ralphie took herself away. She said, "I ain't gonna do that no more, boss."
I'm tired, boss. Mr. Jones,
tired,
you were back.
Yeah, we got a whole new laptop in action now. We had to flip them out. It's like saying
Shout out to the
Candyman
tech
in the
crew
mirror
behind the scenes.
too many times with Pete over here bringing up Ron Livingston. The computer just shut down.
Everything in the Jones household just completely freezes up when he hears that name. It's crazy the grip that it has on him right now. You wouldn't believe this guy, man. This guy had, yeah. So, Mr. Jones, to catch you up, we saved one final category, but we were still going through our ideal program based on the following traits.
Yeah.
So go ahead, and we're going to open the floor up to you. I'm going to name a trait, and then go ahead and give us your selection for it.
All right.
So uniforms and mascots.
Okay. Uniforms. Give me
Combo.
the black and gold. The black and gold with the Hawkeyes. Got to. Just a great combination there. Pretty legendary. Don't have to get too fancy. You kind of know what you're going to get week in, week out with one or two variations. So we're going to go with the black and gold. Let's see. What else do we got? What was the next question?
Recruiting pipeline.
Louisiana State University, LSU. First of all, they kind of own the state of Louisiana, which has a lot of talent. They also have great pipeline into Texas and Florida, Alabama, Georgia. Those are like the four best schools for high school to college athletics pipeline. So we're going to go with LSU. They always have a good recruiting class, and the output on the field is never, lacking from talent. Sometimes it's lacking from other reasons, but it's never due to talent. So those are going to be the two picks there.
Having the monopoly in your area or in your geography too is massive, especially when you're churning out the talent like comes out of Louisiana. So yeah, great pick. And then stadium as well. And then we'll wrap up the other two live with us.
Stadium. This is such a hard one.
So for example, I said Rocky Top, but I also had just being like, I really like the atmosphere. My mind initially went over to Eastern Tennessee. You have a song that goes along with it, but it's also just like beautiful being in elevation. You get great sunsets out there. And I feel like it's unique. You get great camera pans out, during the fall, seeing all the trees around changing colors. So just absolutely gorgeous.
You love Rocky Top.
He does love Rocky Top.
Old Rocky Top. Woo!
Yeah, you do love Rocky Top. I think it's just called Husky Stadium, which I love. We're going to go with the University of Washington. You can do some sailgating out there. It's just very picturesque. Maybe not the loudest on the list, but, they get up for a big game. They definitely pack that place out consistently, win or lose. The fans love to show up and support out there. Also love the fact that it's called Husky Stadium. In general, I love that about so many of these college football stadiums. And this will change within the next 5 to 10 years. I can guarantee you that. So enjoy it while we have it before all these things start to get branding deals. But we're going to go with Husky Stadium out there in Washington.
Yep. That's great call out too.
Great.
That's sad. It's sad, really. It's fucking sad that we're going to get another Acrisure Stadium out there in fucking Western Washington because they need the extra $25 million annually to fund the fucking. Oh God, that is so sorry.
At Iowa, they got John Deere on the field now. Ads on the field, which if you're gonna do one, John Deere in black and white looks fine. Where it's not
great.
It's not an eyesore, but there's gonna be some bad ones out there soon, like Crypto Arena type shit.
Yeah, or like a fucking software company is gonna put it out there, and like there's no software companies in college football. Get the Deere tractors, manufacturing, American made. Like, yeah, that makes sense in the state of Iowa for fucking sure. It's got to make sense, but we're gonna see some.
The only people I support in the software industry are the Sassy Boys. Check out their podcast, straight out of Austin, Texas.
Love the Sassy Boys.
Anyways, and then we went with tradition. So we still have Crazy Horse left, but for tradition, Chisholm and I kind of interpreted it in one way. So I'm curious to hear where your thoughts go with this one. Because I think you alluded to it a little bit differently than we kind of answered.
So are we talking we're talking about prestige too, right? It's like tradition and prestige. Like we're not talking about one specific tradition that a program does. It's like, the built up what they have. I mean, I'm just gonna take Bama. If I'm building a program from day one, the standard is the standard at Bama. They have the most championships. They have the most wins. They have the most prestige, really, as a university for when it comes to football, which up there. Chisholm's giving me a look like Notre Dame has a lot of prestige. But, I mean, it's just got to be Bama. That's my choice. Who do you guys take?
We interpreted it the other way, actually. But that's okay. So we were thinking
like the wave?
Like the wave. So we were
Like
thinking a tradition that a college football program, whether it's players, it's fans, it's culture does, but that's okay.
I'm gonna come in and I'll clip Texas Pete's wings a little bit here. How about this? I'm gonna say lighten up the cigars in Rocky Top after a win. Rocky Top's nothing without lighting up the cigars.
A little stogie, smoking a pancake. Yeah. A bong and a bleach.
I hope to Sunday. I got a couple Stogs back here just waiting for the pilgrimage. Well, that's awesome. Why don't we go ahead and close out this segment with the final trait of building a college football program, and that's going to be the Crazy Horse trait. So while I and many listeners may still not be clear what this is, we're going to kick it over to Chisholm, the founding of the Crazy Horse, to describe what this field is as well as what his selection is.
He's got some Comanche in him.
I think I alluded, I'm a direct descendant of the mountain man Jim Bridger, and that means I got a little bit of engine in me. And our battle plan will be that of an Apache resistance. Crazy Horse is nothing more, nothing less than one of the greatest Native Americans to ever walk the Great Plains, the face of this earth, but also phenomenal monument. I feel like we've already touched on this in the episode itself. Maybe that was just production meeting, but you go to Mount Rushmore, you're checking out the Four Faces. Then you turn around, you see Crazy Horse, and you're like, "Holy shit, this is better than all four of those faces combined." I think this is better, and that would be considered a hot take by some, personal preference by others, and objective truth by others still. So this, in essence, is just going to be one of our hottest takes. This is going to be any category, anything that has to do with college football itself that we would go out and say, I think this to be true. All of that being said, I think that of all of the things, the songs, whatever, you name it, I think Virginia Tech's Enter Sandman entrance is one of, if not the coolest things to watch in all of college football. Like when you watch Europeans be like, "Oh, college football entrance, Virginia Tech. This is a technical school. This isn't even, the main state university." And then you watch that. Metallica even getting involved in the last video game, right? All of those things. I would say I agree, but there's one song that's better, and it's not during the entrance, and it is Alabama once again, but their version of Dixieland Delight. If you haven't heard the song Dixieland Delight, also by the band Alabama, shame on you. But second of all, if you haven't heard the version sung at Alabama games, you're just missing out on living life in human experience. Hopefully you've at least heard Neck at LSU, but Dixieland Delight.
How many
Alabama,
picks how many are you gonna take here, man?
That's it.
What are we doing? What are we doing right now? You're not leading off ever again.
I just zagged while you zigged, and I took one out
absurd.
at the same time. Alabama's Dixieland Delight. I just named two things. First of all, I just took one out from underneath you guys.
And LSU.
Third. Oh,
Virginia Tech.
Too. Snuck that one in. But also, this is my thing, my category. I think Dixieland, it's not an entrance song. I think it's just a song associated with the program. Dixieland Delight wins.
Am I
All
up?
right.
All right. I'm going to go with Town. They're putting a lot of money into Town. They're going to build it up. They're going to make it nice.
It is going to be cool, actually. Ames,
I'm
Iowa is a really cool place.
I'm going to go with something that's maybe more of an idea, right? I'm going to go with Delusion. Delusion can really bring a program a long ways. 10 years of subpar football, and they can still just be riding full of delusion. I'm going to take the delusion of the Husker fan base. That willingness to always think that you're right around the corner for being a national program again, from reaching the top of the mountain when you couldn't be further away. That's what we want in our program's fan base, is just a hefty bit of Husker delusion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great.
You do want the hope. You do want the hope in the fan base. It covers a lot of excuses for the management and the training and the product you're putting out on the field when you have nostalgia on your side.
Oh, yeah.
If you hear Remember When by Alan Jackson and you start thinking about your football team and how good they used to be, that's called delusion. That's called pack it up.
I mean, there's so much. I have a lot of delusion around the Hawkeyes, obviously. 2 weeks ago, I was like, college football playoff, here we come. Quick back-to-back L's. Football team can't score a single point in the second half of last week, but fuck it. I'll be back next year, brimming full of hope and excitement. And that's delusion in itself, too. You need that delusion.
Hope is a dangerous thing.
Awesome. So before Chisholm took my 1 and 3 options, the first spot being Enter Sandman by VT, just a killer entrance, and then LSU's band playing Neck, suck that tiger dick, bitch. Like, that is just awesome. It's a great mind frame to put your team, to be in as like a fan. It's like, you know what? Hell yeah, fuck you. We're number one. So I would say Neck, but also just, I guess it's kind of more tradition adjacent, but I feel like as a supporter of a program, this would kind of be a really cool thing to partake in, and that's Clemson. Whenever they go play road games or bowl games, they pay with a fuck ton of $2 bills, just to show how big of an impact they travel. So it's like ricochets across the local businesses and the communities around your college football stadium. So it's like, hey, we're taking you outside the stadium and on the field too. And we're going to be here. And I feel like that's just something, especially like as an alumni or as, an older member traveling and going to these games, that's something that you could do that just makes it, extra fun going to the bank, picking up $400 and $2 bills and just having a party there.
Love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. This is like Dillingham for Arizona State saying that each local business needs to name at least one menu item after a football player. I don't know if you saw that interview. I kind of liked it. And then he's like, and then also
explain
on top
it a
of that,
bit more.
And then also on top of that, anytime anybody orders that meal, we should get a cut of that money going to NIL for us to pay the football players.
There we go. Okay, there was the tie-in.
Let's just just all in on Exile Brewing, like how the Hawks do it, and let's just drink our team to a national championship. We're gonna do it regardless. We might as well get some profit off of it, get it to the right hands, start facilitating motion, right? Bobbing and weaving, getting the right guys on the bus, and I'll just keep doing what I was planning on doing from the beginning. You guys get better talent on the field, and maybe put my name somewhere on a plaque.
I like that, Chisholm. Facilitating motion. I'm going to start saying that with my intramural basketball team. We got to facilitate motion, boys. Got to get this thing going.
Orchestrate,
Should we get into the picks of the whole thing, or do we do a real quick recap and we run through what they got?
Okay. Picks, bitch. Yeah, that's where I'm at, man.
Actual football picks. Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Texas Pete. Want to lead us into the forest?
Yeah, so this is just an absolute ass slate. Thanks to the greatest football conference of the SEC scheduling a bunch of fucking nobodies for the most part this week. And that being said, like the Big 10 teams and Big 12, they're still playing conference games, but it just wasn't a good poll. Maybe it was purposely set up that way, but it's just not a good weekend for viewing enjoyment. So take this as your time to rest. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. There's going to be football on, from Thursday on, actual serious, legitimate football to watch. So if you need a break, this is your weekend to go ahead and take it. Don't really have a ton of games here. I mean, the game with probably the biggest playoff implication is going to be Missouri at Oklahoma. Obviously, we saw Oklahoma beat Bama last weekend, and they did it in a kind of a sloppy way, I thought. I mean, they obviously won. So anytime you go on the road and win against a highly ranked opponent that's in the playoffs is a massive win for the program. But they had they returned a pick for a touchdown and just I mean, not to say that that's calling it sloppy, but just the view, like the eyeball test was telling me, you know what, this was kind of a muck it up game that you have to win for the coin flips. Don't really have any takeaways or picks on this game here. I feel like Missouri's just kind of fallen out of prominence. What was that big game that they lost the other week? A&M. They just got absolutely slaughtered. Curious to hear what you guys think here. This is pretty much the only game with playoff implications outside of maybe one in the Big Ten. So if you want to cover that one after this.
The Pittsburgh game too. Let's see.
Could be.
Chisholm.
Yeah, I got 2 plays on this one. First one being the under. It's a low total. It's only 42.5. I think that's over at BetMGM right now. You can get that, but this one's plain and simply just because the Sooners keep their opponents below their season average points. And the Tigers are struggling on offense right now without Bo Perbula. So I think that's just 2 birds getting us stoned, or we're getting 2 birds stoned. Either way, keep that motherfucker moving. But the second play being Oklahoma in this one without Perbula, it's just a different team. Missouri also just simply put has yet to beat a ranked team on the road this year. I don't see that happening for the first time this week. Go ahead and just take Oklahoma to cover a touchdown and some change and see what happens there. But I think they just control the game through and through.
Yeah, the only concern here, I'm on OU spread as well as 7.5. Is just the letdown after the huge win, right? At Bama, but Mateer's looking a lot better, healthier, I guess is probably the right word. And, I second a lot of what Chisholm says. I also had the under on Missouri season total before the year started. That was one of my lock bets of the year, along with Wisconsin under. So we need this Missouri loss here to continue stacking those up, and we'll be in pretty good shape if they take this L. So going to join them on that one. All right, let's move to USC at Oregon. This is a fun game. This is a game that I got my eye on because, Oregon came to Iowa.
Did we both just drop on you?
Is he talking on your screen? Nope, he's gone.
He's not even in the call.
So for those of you still watching, I apologize for nothing. Go fuck yourself. This is free.
I just froze out.
Yeah, you froze out. Apparently, running back Jones is freezing out. But we can talk USC and Oregon here because I do have a play on this one as well. I'm all in on USC in this game. I think Oregon's been playing closer than normal. But also this USC team, even in a -2 turnover margin battle against Notre Dame, they still covered the 10.5 point spread. They're grittier than I think most people would give them credit for, as evidenced by that win over Iowa as well, when Iowa was kind of running away. They're not running away, but they were in control of that game. I kind of view Oregon as a similar team, I guess you could say, to Notre Dame. If anything, I think lesser than as far as the talent and the coaching and what's on the field itself goes. I think this line is just too many points, simply. 9.5 is a ton of points in this one, and I feel like USC is going to find a way to cover that.
Yes. Also, game day in Eugene this weekend for this game. I think it's their second time coming up there this
Really?
year. I think they were there for Indiana as well, if I recall. So revisiting Eugene. I kind of agree with you. It's a rat line, especially with Oregon. I don't want to say floundering, but just not lighting it up offensively nor defensively. Although their defense kind of has been holding it together for them the past handful of games. But there's also been, like against Indiana, they let up 30 points. You know, when you're playing this top tier teams. Against Penn State, when they went into Happy Valley, they let up 24 points, and that's when Franklin was still at the helm. I think I'm on the under 59.5. It's just lining up for me to have a defensive battle. And credit to USC's defense last week. They kind of shorted up there after Iowa kind of jumped on them earlier on. But this is just a painful game to watch as a Hawkeyes fan. The last two teams that beat you probably should have beaten the both of them. That being said, it'll probably be on my TV still. So we like the under in this game at 59.5.
What's going on, fellas? I like Oregon in this game. I'm calling it the Autzen game. We heard a lot about Autzen when Oregon came to town against Kinnick, and Kinnick was getting a lot of hype and saying, "Hey, how loud can Kinnick be, and how much can they impact the game?" And I think they did a pretty good job of that. This is the flip side for Oregon. It doesn't get much bigger than this year. This is one of your traditional rivals coming from the Pac-12. A lot of the line for both teams, and I think Autzen's going to put up big numbers in that kind of 12:30 Pacific time slot. So I'm going with Oregon minus 9.5. The under, I like that thought. Texas Pete 59.5 is a lot of points. I think both these defenses probably aren't getting enough credit. Yeah, but it's going to be just sticking with the Oregon bet here on this one. Holy cow, though. How good are these USC receivers? Like, that is just NFL talent all across the board with those receivers for USC.
It was frustrating, man. As soon as they found like 2-3 yards of open field when they were in the secondary, they would rattle off for like 15 more guaranteed, like untouched, straight out of bounds, which is really fucking pissing me off. Mekhi Lemon, probably the best like sub 6 foot wide receiver out there. I mean, Tyreek Hill build. Maybe that's just comparing him being short and incredibly fast, but credit to him because he is short and incredibly fast and has great hands and is able to elevate and get up for a man of his size. Just dominated us last weekend. And just a great last name too.
I was gonna say I've been saying Mekhi Lemon. I've been saying this since I think week 2 or 3. He's the best slot receiver I've seen in college football this year. I've yet to see someone better. Jacoby Lane actually was very impressive to me as well in the boundary. I feel like between those two, that's where virtually all of their offensive yards came from. Just really, really frustrating when you can't stop one. They just go to the other and vice versa, and then you're just left there floundering.
Every contested ball they come down with. Yeah, Lemon's already got 1,100 receiving yards on the season, which is just ridiculous. I don't think I was thrown for 1,100 yards on the season, actually. I'm pretty sure. I know they haven't. This isn't about Lemon, Iowa.
He is who people think Ryan Williams is.
I like that. That's a good comp.
Let's keep.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to keep this shit moving.
Yeah, do it.
Let's kick it over to the ACC. I know you said you were jumping at the bits to get a little ACC talk in there, and we do have a big matchup. That's going to be the Pitt Panthers going down to play Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is 2.5-point home favorites. Total is at 61.5. Pitt head coach Narduzzi last week was saying it didn't matter what the fuck the score was against Notre Dame because we got Georgia Tech coming up here. So he's had this game circled on his calendar for 2 weeks. Run it back, Jones. We know you've been dialed into a ton of ACC balls. So what are your thoughts going into this game?
Yeah, I got lots of thoughts, and there's really only one that matters. Narduzzi, I like him a lot, sure. But Georgia Tech is just Chisholm personified. And that 2.5 points, if they weren't personified Chisholm, they wouldn't be covering, but surely they are. And in that sense, they will be covering 2.5 points. Biggest game, I think, for Pitt and Georgia Tech as programs since when? Georgia Tech had some games last year.
Pitt played in
maybe the Georgia game
3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Maybe I'm not tapped into the ACC games, but I'm sure I'm excited to watch this one. I think this is probably going to get – I don't have plans on Saturday. This is probably going to get primetime viewing out of me.
Yeah, I owe it to Haynes King, right?
Can we
Yeah,
can we
you
talk
do.
about? I know we kind of said this as a running joke so far, but like Georgia Tech just refuses to blow out any team in a game. They were like 2.5 score favorites last week against a shitty, 2-8 Boston College team. And they were trailing for a good chunk of the game, and especially in the second half as well. But Haynes King, dude, that's exactly where he wants to be, man. He wants to be 2 scores down with his defense on the field. So he came out there, led them to a victory last weekend. But it's just so funny because we were talking about it earlier this year against Wake Forest when you don't want to play Haynes King went in overtime. So if this game goes to overtime, just immediately know that Georgia Tech is going to win. That's going to be an auto bet for the remainder of the season. And
He's ran for 14 touchdowns. It's crazy.
Is this his last year of eligibility?
I think so.
Year?
I believe this is his last year.
Oh, he is a senior. Shit, dude, that's so sad.
You can't really be Chisholm personified and not be like an older, weathered,
correct
senior type college football player. You kind of got to be in your last leg in the college football world to be personified by Chisholm.
They should make an exception for Haynes King to get a COVID year. I think he deserves it.
I think
him and Granowski should switch spots and see what happens with these two teams.
Yes,
probably not much difference if I'm being honest.
Probably not.
Less than you'd think. I got 2 plays. I'm of course going to be on Tech. I think they're just a better team in general. They definitely have a better coaching staff. I like Narduzzi, but like I don't love him. I don't really think about or care about him. What is it? Brent Key over at Tech. Those boys are humming.
He is sweet.
I mean, after the his post game on the field, interview last year in Dublin after they, knocked off ranked Florida State before Florida State went 2-10. That was a sick moment. I feel like that was kind of the first time I was like, oh, I got to take stock of this guy. But Haynes King also just gives you that edge. And I feel like Georgia Tech's just humming. The vibes are high over there. There's no way that the Pitt locker room feels good after last week. But also, I'm going to go ahead and double down on that sentiment and give me Haynes King over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That is going for plus 145 currently on FanDuel. I like that spot. I like that line. I feel like they're going to try to get a couple pop passes in the red zone. I think he's going to find a way to get at least one. If he can just turn one of his hypothetical rushing touchdowns into a passing touchdown, we cash that with some value on that. So those would be my 2 plays on this game.
Love him, Pete. Key, I think the biggest thing that I had circled for him this year is to have 30 2-point conversion plays. Because he was so awesome in that game against Georgia last year that went 8 overtimes. And around the fourth overtime, you could see it on his face that they ran out of 2-point conversion plays.
Like,
they didn't really know what to do.
Yeah. He's like, fuck.
He looked, So that's my only
recycle it.
Yeah, I just keep if it worked once, just run it again. But all right, any other picks or plays? I got SMU sticking in the ACC minus 3.5. This is just a pure gut play, but it's also probably the one I put the most time into. But we also don't need to talk about it because it's just SMU minus 3.5.
Yeah, I can rip through mine. One is happening as we speak. That is Buffalo money line. They're going up against Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio was trotting out.
I'm picking them while they're up 24 points.
No, they were up 3 in the third last I checked. But I had this on the doc. Have been off of action.
Didn't bring it up in production meeting, that's for sure.
I brought it up when I wrote it out on the document that you didn't read prior to starting recording. But we'll talk about that offline. I will say this. Buffalo's defense was the main driver in this one. Like I said, going up against a backup quarterback who went 11 for 37 last week. They're ranked 21st in overall success rate, second right now in the MAC as a whole in total yards given up. That was kind of the driving factor there. But one more play for the week. This is a Friday night game. Hawaii. Rainbow Warriors going on the road to the Vegas Strip, the Vegas Lights, the city the Mafia built. That is right. Hawaii versus UNLV, and they're catching 3 points to play with on the road. And I really do like the spot overall for Hawaii. coming off of a bye, first and foremost, and getting UNLV, who just played in an overtime game on a short week last week. And I think Hawaii might actually overall just be the better team. I know there's a lot of transfer portal power and pop that kind of comes at you with UNLV. Dan Mullen, same thing. I guess he's kind of like he's like a transfer portal coach, I guess you could say. But there's not really a home field advantage either. If you're UNLV, I'm pretty sure they're playing in Allegiant Stadium, which is an NFL-sized stadium. And even folks in Las Vegas are still learning that there's a collegiate university that lives there. So go ahead and just rip it from a Vegas doesn't get up for their own team's perspective. Very similar to an LA, teams if you're looking at like a Chargers or something of that nature. But give me the Rainbow Warriors +3 on the road Saturday, noon slate. Looking at JMU hosting Washington State. JMU is getting 12.5 points that they're favored by. And just strictly by the numbers, I think this is a 2-touchdown game at minimum for JMU. The Dukes are just trying to get their bid to the college football playoff like we've talked about. So they have shit to prove. They're going to have their foot down on the gas pedal in this one. And I think this, more anything else, there's going to be at least one moment where this game could be on the risk of a backdoor cover. So keep that in mind. Maybe make that a live play game. But I do like JMU. Notre Dame, I'll be taking them as well. It's -34.5 against Syracuse without Steve Angeli. Hoping for a speedy recovery for him. But this is their senior day, and I think they've gone 3 straight with covers. There's a whole bunch of reasons you could take this one, but just trust. And then the last one is another Saturday night game. Big 12, got to represent a little bit here. BYU, I'm going to take them just money line. You can get them at -135 right now as best odds. That looks like it is over on DraftKings. And defensively, they're just built to beat the shit out of a Cincinnati team where you're allowing less than 200 passing yards per game. Only 8 passing touchdowns given up all year from the BYU defense. Brendan Sorsby is going to have his hands full for the Bearcats offense. And then I think the biggest thing as well from a numbers perspective is 31%, which is the number of third down conversions that BYU is allowed over the course of the entire season. So you're talking less than 1 out of 3 attempts are getting converted. That's a recipe for success. Roll Cougs. But definitely, do a little research into your own faith if you're representing that team and the Mormon faith as a whole. You have some questions to answer there, but yep. That's everything for me.
I'll go ahead and be quick here. We already talked about Georgia Tech -2.5, and then the USC and Oregon under 59.5 line. But I have a fun one here for you, and it's kind of been in the news as of this week's cycle. But Arizona State's playing Colorado. And it came out that Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt is probably going to be entering the transfer portal. So I feel like that gives you a little bit of peek inside the locker room here. So we're going to take the under 48.5 in this game. Mind you, they're also playing Colorado, who can't score for fucking shit. So I feel like there's definitely a healthy buffer in that line. And then going over to another kind of weird line that I just circled. These are macro plays for you. Tulane at Temple. Tulane is obviously snagging that last 12 seed into the college football playoffs right now. And I think people put a little bit too much more weight on these little numbers next to your name. So I feel like Temple +7.5 at home just kind of has that good value, and I love the hook on it. And then lastly, we're going to be fading Wisconsin. This has been a popular play in my gambling chats this season, but I think they covered against Indiana last weekend and they won the week before. So they're due for a total stinker. This is not a good team. So we're taking Illinois -7.5 on the road in Camp Randall.
I'm gonna trail Texas Pete because I've been on I've been fading Wisconsin, and they're on a cover. They're on like this crazy cover streak. It's so frustrating. I was gonna say that team. Texas Tech is gonna replace Indiana as our auto bet team against the spread, but they're on bye this week, so we're gonna have to save that one for next week.
Sounds good. That's all I had, though.
The only other one I had, I missed my chance. I'm over 54.5 in BYU Cincy, but Chisholm kind of gave a little bit of a breakdown in that game. There you have it.
Look at us. Who would have thought? Hour and a half. I hope you guys
Only
enjoyed.
a few minor technical difficulties.
Yeah, we battled. We battled, and this was a grit episode for sure. This is a Haynes King episode. We went down, but we found our way back into the game, and overall found a way to win. So that's what's most important here. But any final thoughts from you guys before we tie a bow on this shit? Get some sleep. Get ready for the slate.
I actually do have something to say. It's tying it into the grand theme. I know this week's episode and this month is sponsored by Movember, so I'm going to translate that over to the college football world. Breaking news, guys. The season is close to ending, the regular season, that is. If your team is not a team that's going to be bowl eligible, I'm sorry, you only got a couple weeks left. But for the rest of us, the winners, we got a little bit longer. But just appreciate it every football game that you have on your TV, because knowing the drought is coming soon.
Yeah, unlike the famous Bob Green quote, it's a team effort. Everyone contributed with poor play. Great job out of everyone today, and great job to you, the faithful listener, for going out there and making each college football Saturday count. Before you know it, you're going to be left with just the box out boys. And, we love the box out boys. Don't get us wrong. But that's all you're going to have, right? Through Christmas, into the new year, we'll be here, and we're going to keep contributing.
Yeah. It's really simple. It's get involved, but it's stay involved, right? And that's what we do.
Say, Chisholm?
Facilitate motion.
Facilitate motion. That's all you got to do the rest of the month.
That's all you got to do. Orchestrate wherever you can. One last piece of advice, just in case you guys didn't get anything out of this episode. If you shake it more than twice, you're playing with yourself. Outside of that, happy Movember. The fact that it's Thanksgiving next week, a little bit insane. Christmas right around the corner. Cannot wait to see, what Jeffy has to say. We'll get Ralph on the horn and see what his buddy Jeffy thinks about the rest of the year, the holidays
Jeffy,
coming up and whatnot. But in the meantime, get a couple of texts in out there, checking on your bros and checking on that bookie of yours. And when you do, let them know that we say hi.